Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Kim Levinsky. I am the owner and race director for Sass Trail Running in New Jersey. We're so excited to have you guys on our first episode. We'll call it the premiere of the RunVenture Zoom Series. We've had this idea for a few weeks and finally gotten in motion. So we're going to be doing this every other Wednesday through the month of August, which is we've got a bunch of runners that are lined up to talk. Kicking off with a bang with Maggie, which is really exciting. Real quick, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Sass Squad because I know some of you may be joining us who aren't from our group. So we started putting on trail parties, that's what we call them, in 2018. Our motto is every run is a trail party. So we love to have fun, all ages, all paces. Come out to our events. Obviously, 2020 was derailed a little bit for everybody. So we are rolling with it and we're working hard to stay connected with everybody through virtual events like this. So make sure you sign up for our other RunVenture talks that are coming up over the next couple months. We're also hosting a virtual race series called the Magically Mythical Virtual Race Series, which has events from 5K up to 100 miles with really fun swag, handcrafted wood stuff that we give out. We're also doing a semi-virtual race. We're kind of taking baby steps to get back to the race scene. So the first 2 weeks of July, we're going to be doing our Fat Sass Switchback Challenge, which is over in Millburn at the South Mountain Reservation. So the way it works is you can sign up for this event, and then anytime in those 2 weeks, you go out to the course. We're going to have it marked, and you'll run your race, and then you'll submit your results to us, and we'll add it to Ultra Sign Up. So it's a 1 mile loop. It goes up 300 feet, down 300 feet. And you can do a 5K, which would be 3 loops. You can do 3 hour or 6 hour, try to do as many loops as you can in the allotted time. And then we're also doing a virtual plogging and trail cleanup weekend. This is our second one that we've done. And we're encouraging everybody to get out on their favorite trail. It's virtual, so you can go to whatever trail you want. I see Jess is on the call. She crushed it the first round. Crushed it. A bunch of different parks with all that trash. I'm sure even if you're not in New Jersey, you've noticed there's more trash out in the trails just with more traffic on it. So we want to make an impact and pick up the trash. So you can find more about us on social media, Sass Squad Trail Running for Facebook and Instagram, and our website, sassquadtrailrunning.com. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Maggie really needs no introduction. She became a household name in over the last few months when she won Big's Backyard Ultra, covering 250 miles in 60 hours, which is insane and amazing. So if you're a new trail runner, I'm sure you've heard her name. If you've been around the trail scene for a few years and you're on the East Coast, you probably know Maggie because she is originally from the East Coast, and she just recently moved out to Colorado. And so we are so proud to, claim Maggie as their own because she is from the East Coast. And she was very involved with local races around Philly, PA, New Jersey, New York, tri-state area, including the Squatchung Surprise in 2018. I have to preface this by saying that Maggie chose the title for this talk for 2018 champion. It wasn't me trying to boost my ego, though it did make me feel good. But Maggie did share that it was one of her favorite events that she's done, which is really a testament to our runners that were there and our volunteer dream team. I know personally that's one of my most favorite events that we do in our race series. So without further ado, Maggie's going to chat for about 20 to 30 minutes. We invited her on to share her running story. We are going to hit her with 10 rapid fire questions at the end. They're fun and goofy. And then we're going to open it up for question and answer for you guys. So just ask to keep your videos on mute so she doesn't have any feedback. And that's it. Maggie, you're up.
Thanks, Kim. That seriously was really one of my favorite races. Just like the concept's so fun for anyone who's not familiar. I don't know, I guess you will have to decide in September whether you can have that race again. So, but I really want to come back for it again because it was so fun. I mean, you just pick a golf ball and it corresponds to the different loops they have. And I think every loop was so cool because like no one wanted the green loop because it was long and technical and like you're trying to get as many miles as possible. But then like the blue loop or something, it was like the 2-mile loop was really easy. It's kind of boring. And like my favorite was the red, which was like the in-between distance and it was just rolly. But anyway, like that was a super fun day. And then actually me and my friend Rebecca got in the car, drove to Reading, Pennsylvania, and then did a night trail run. So that was like one of my favorite days ever. And I miss Pennsylvania. I don't know, this is it. I guess I kind of have like this running journey where I like can talk about the beginning and like me being a runner in Philly, but like the thing I miss most about Pennsylvania, I mean, really now there's no races, but Pennsylvania is such a good, and the East Coast has such a good running community. There's a race every weekend. You could do like anything. And Colorado here, it's like the races are epic, but you know, they're like once a month or then they're only in the summer. You can't just go find a race in the winter that you want to go run. So I feel like I was like, oh yeah, I want to get here and run in the mountains, but I kind of took for granted just the trail running community and just going to these low key races and having your pick any weekend you wanted. So like I really miss that, but yeah, so I originally I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and I grew up there. I went to school in New York, in Brooklyn, and I wasn't a runner then. I kind of dabbled. And then I moved to Philly, and I lived in Philly for like 11 or 12 years. And towards the end of my Philly life is when I got really into running. And like I think Carolyn Redmond was on here somewhere. Like I met her through the Fishtown Beer Runners. And hello. And like it was all about like running was like it was a personal journey, but then it was also really social. And so like I really enjoyed going on like long weekday runs with friends after work or you know, and I honestly didn't know about different surfaces. I didn't really think like, oh, this is a trail race, this is a road race. Like it was just whatever race was there. I only ever did the best place to run really in Philly. I mean, just because you don't have to worry about cars or sidewalks or stopping at red lights is the Kelly Drive loop, that 8-mile loop around the art museum. So that being said, I ran there all the time when I started running. And so like, let's see, like 2009, it was when I really like, I was like, I'm going to train for the Philly Marathon. I'm going to do this. And that was like November of 2009. And then I figured, okay, one and done. But by the time I was walking home, I was like, what other marathon can I run? Like, I want to do this again. But then, so like back then, and I mean, there wasn't like tons of stuff on running, which isn't even that long ago, which is weird, but a lot of things said like, oh, you should run this many 5Ks and this many 10Ks to go to a half marathon and then a marathon. And then going into ultras, you should be running a marathons for like 6 years or like all different things that said to be like, just really kind of gradually ease into it. And I had a couple of friends talk me out of like signing up for an ultra. So it took me like 2 years to finally just be like, screw it. I'm just going to sign up for the only ultra I know of, which was the 20 and 24 in Philadelphia, which if no one is familiar, I know some of you are, it's on that 8-mile loop I was talking about in Philadelphia in July. So, I mean, that's just like really awful conditions, just because it's so hot and humid and it's just a long pavement loop. But I had a blast, even though it was pretty terrible. My goal was to run 100 miles in that 24 hours. And because I thought like 15-minute pace is like very doable. And I think it is for anyone, you know, I think it's an attainable goal. But nutrition was a huge part of it. And I had no idea how much like nutrition, I mean, I knew it was like from what I read on the internet that it was important. But I took like some of the advice I got really literally. I didn't know any ultra runners. So my friend from grade school, her husband was an ultra runner. So she said, you should talk to him. So I did. He gave me great advice, but I took it really literal. He said, eat early, eat often. But I figured, yeah, like within this first 4 hours, I'm just going to shove as many calories in my face as I can, like not worrying about what they are. I was drinking some like gross drink that's from the 80s that's like some sports drink I won't mention, but I think I was taking like power gels, which are, I don't know, the consistency is weird. But there weren't a whole lot of different nutrition options back then. I mean, there were, but not like there is now. So yeah, so it was a disaster. I was pretty nauseous by mile 26. And my friends basically overnight nursed me back to health. I was like, I didn't see how it would be possible to get to 100 miles, but I was like, I'll keep going. And long story short, I made it to 97, and it was definitely like a group effort with all my friends helping me. So it was really awesome, and I knew I could do better, so I signed up the next year. But this year I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna kind of throw in a couple 50 milers in training and work on all the things I need to work on. And I think I did a fat ass 50 miler that was like around that loop as well that April. And then I think May I signed up for the Dirty German 50 miler, which was my first trail race, I think. I don't remember if I did a shorter trail race before that. But you know, like that was a really great first trail race. If anyone ever gets a chance to run that, it's really awesome. Stefan's races are fun, and the course isn't super difficult, but it's not boring. It is a couple loops, but I mean, everything's loops in Philly. So that like taught me a lot. And I think just over the years, your legs and body just get used to the wear and tear. But yeah, so that second year I ran the 20 and 24. Oh, and I forgot to mention, like after, I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this, but like my legs swole so much both years I did this 24-hour. Like I didn't know how people could possibly run these ultras, like because the recovery is so awful. Like I felt like I had some form of like DVT, which is deep vein thrombosis, but I have no idea. It's like self-diagnosed. It felt like there were tourniquets all over my legs. They were so fat I could barely like stand up. I had to like crawl to the bathroom. This happened both years I did it. I was like, I don't think I can keep doing this if this is what it's like. But I signed up again a third year. and that was actually canceled because that year the heat index was supposed to be like 110 or something ridiculous. And they called for like life-threatening lightning storms and all that. And I think it did storm pretty bad that night because I was out to dinner with a couple friends. And so I went in search of a different race to make up for that, and I found the Viaduct 100. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that race. It's this tiny fat ass in northern Pennsylvania, almost to New York, like near Birmingham, New York, I think. And it's just in the middle of nowhere, and it's this like out and back gravel rail trail that you do 4 times. So it's like, 12 and a half out, you turn around. It's flattish, but that was rough. So I wasn't used to running on even rougher terrain, even though it's really just a rail trail. And I got really overzealous, and I was trying to run like under 18 hours for some reason. I decided midway that I was going to do that. So then I ended up just death marching the final 25 miles in the rain, and my friend Rodney walked with me. He'll tell you that story all the time about how miserable it was and whatever. But I finished my first 100-mile trail race, and going through my head during that race, like I was thinking how I could never do a race like Western States, and that seemed just too hard. I'm like, this is so freaking hard. I don't know how I could ever do a race that has like actual hills. And then, so, I mean, that was like 2011, 2012, 2013, I think, or something like that. So then I just started signing up for, like, I think everyone's probably goes through this when they find like a running or ultras or racing or whatever, but you're just like, how many races can I sign up for? So like, I think like 2013 going into 2014, I had a race like every weekend, like ultras. I think in March that year I ran like 5 marathons or ultras, and one of them was 100K in March or something. Like, it was awful. Every race was like a death march. My legs were so tired, but I was like, oh, I love it. It's so fun. But it never like occurred to me to like focus on one after, completing a bunch, because I just thought like, I just wanted to complete them. And so then at Rocky Raccoon 100 in 2014, I met my coach, Michelle Yates. And well, I didn't know she was my coach at the time, but so after the race, I mean, she ran by me like a freight train, and I was like super inspired. I had known that she's like just named Ultra Runner of the Year, and I was just like, whoa. And one of my friends was coached by her, and I was kind of dabbling with the idea like, okay, maybe I can get better. But I had looked at a bunch of coaches and I couldn't afford any of them. It was like, whatever. So I contacted Michelle just to see, and like, it was actually affordable. And she was like, she didn't tell me like, don't do all these races. She just kind of like, all right, this is what you want to do. I can help you do that. I can help you get better. She's like, but if you want to get better, like, you need to focus on a couple things and not just like race. You need to rest, like whatever. I was like, all right, well, let me get me through the spring. I've already signed up for all these races, whatever. And then I had this goal in the back of my head that I wanted to qualify for the 24-hour team, the national team. There is actually a team for that. Part of the reason was I was really inspired by this girl that would win the 20 and 24 every year. Her name was Sabrina Moran at the time. It's now Sabrina Little. She's a really good ultra runner. She was from, I think, New Jersey, but she lives in Kentucky now. She's super cool. She's like really into philosophy, and her posts are super nerdy, but she's really funny. And she's a really good writer. So if you see her blog, you should give some of her writing a read, because she's pretty funny. But anyway, she really inspired me, because I was like, oh wow. I mean, I just didn't know of any other ultra runners either. Not to say that she's any less inspiring, but like, I don't know, she just seemed like she was approachable. And like, I looked at the team qualifiers, and I just kind of in the back of my head thought, okay, I can run that. I think at the time it was